What's up, YouTube motherfuckers? Yeah, that's a bad way to do it. What's up, YouTube? So today we're going to be talking about just some aggressive picking on Mirage. I'm going to just go over, standard peaks, looking at A ramp, palace, not too much in middle, and an upper B peak on each side, terrace and CT side. All these are meant to do is just giving you some insight, my mindset when I go for these picks, and how you can use them effectively in-game and put your team in an advantage. So the first one I want to talk about is the A ramp peak. First step, pretty simple. You just come up, you molly A ramp. I prefer usually having a teammate behind me because if you get in trouble, it's always useful. You creep up and you come here and you peek like this. So personally, I like to just hold this angle. I don't like to come all the way to the right. If you didn't hear anybody here early, you have a safe, clear lane right up here. And when you get behind the Molotov, you have an advantage. So the reason why this pick is really good is because, well, first off, a lot of teams like to walk up A ramp, and this area in general is really hard to flash. So ideally, in a perfect world, when you get into this position, you can hold this angle and your teammate walks behind you after you get into this angle and is playing here, probably a rifle. The things that can go wrong in these rounds are if they go heavy mid. So maybe they've been going A a lot and you had to read and you wanted to try to get a pick A ramp, but they end up going really heavy mid. This is when things can get a little tricky because your team's not going to have a heavy mid presence. You're the opper and you're towards A ramp right now. See, in those situations, I advise you maybe have your teammate and you kind of come and clear A ramp together and take a fight. That way, if they do end up coming up connector, you actually have another great position. So the palace peak is personally actually not one of my favorites whatsoever, just simply because there's so many things that can go wrong and good players can really punish it. So usually I'd advise you to have a spawn, you're towards the front, obviously towards A, and you basically come up here, and the route you want to take is you don't want to go up the ladder. You want to jump on here, and then come up here and scope and hold this angle. So you really are trying to get a guy lurking on you. Maybe come up here in the first, let's say 10 seconds. You want to sit up here at the longest, and when you sit up here, you don't want to start pushing forward. You don't want to get in their face, because when you get here, you are at such a disadvantage. This is death. If you make this play, it is out of pure desperation. Maybe when you went into palace, they sent heavy out A ramp. This is the only time something like this is even acceptable, but even then, sometimes I personally will try to maybe smoke this off and then fight from here, because coming into here, it can work out in your favor, but the other player has to drop the ball for you to be able to get in here and actually successfully win the round. Once again, you want to make sure you have a good spawn. I would say the furthest back you want to be really for an upper B pick is around in this area. Ideally, you want to be around here. But it plays out, it's pretty simple. You just run towards B, no unique route or anything like that. Come through the window. Now this is where we need to talk about having a teammate supporting you. Just tossing one up like so, just whatever. It doesn't matter. You're just trying to push off an opera really fast, or you throw your own and then you come up. So the reason why you always want to flash though is the terrorist can beat you if he has a good spawn. So you want to always make sure you're throwing a flash up there before you're just dry peeking, unless you 100% know they don't have an op. So when you come up here, the way I personally I just like to hold here for a few seconds. Sometimes you'll get a contact into B. I don't want to move from this position too often early into the round. And then on top of that, after I hold that, angle, will stay for 5 or 10 seconds, I will come up here and then I'll actually re-hold the same angle, and I'll have my teammate come up with me. So ideally, my teammate will be behind me and I'll have him get here. Once he gets into this position and I'm still posted in mine right here, what I personally like to do, if there's no pressure happening on the map, there's no call outs, there's nothing, we have no info really, maybe they're just doing a default. Some people like to go for this pick right away. I personally do not. You're not really doing much with this and you're not really supporting your teammate, where I like to come up on the right while I'm scoped in, and then I'll unscope right here, have my teammate behind me still, and then I'll actually peek this. And this allows my teammate, he can come behind me, and he can also now establish more map control. So, we're looking 15-20 seconds into the round, and I'm posted on back upper B, and the only positions they can be in now is my teammate can fully understand that there can only be guys in here. And worst case scenario, if he does lose the fight, I'm in a pretty good position to trade. And once you get your teammate here, you can leave. This is why even if you don't get a kill, this is a great peak to take, because when you're holding in here, this completely opens you up. You can go towards catwalk. Maybe your teammates had some early info at A, and you can react off of that, it's a great play to make because it allows you to do other things throughout the round. On T side, we're going to be talking about a few picks. The first thing I want to talk about is mid picks. You know, it's very common that when people see this spawn, they go for a mid peak. There's a lot of different preferences people have to make this peak. Some people like to jump into it like this and come out a little bit wider. The reason I don't want to really get in depth though is, first off, everybody has their own preference on how they like to pick it. Second, I genuinely don't think it's a good thing to go for. I think there's too many things that can go wrong. It's just really high risk, and I feel like I personally rarely benefit from this peak. Even if you have the best spawn for middle as a terrorist, you can lose to 3 or 4 other CT spawns. They don't even need remotely close to the best one to beat you there. Personally, when I have this spawn, I do something different. I usually go for a B pick. The reason I do this is it's extremely safe, and you can usually catch somebody off guard every once in a while with it. If you come up here with an AWP, and you come and you scope like this and you hold the left side for him to get up there, you will beat him and he will not be ready for you. However, the only downside to going for this B pick is a lot of people do tend to smoke upper B pretty early on. And obviously, if that happens, you really don't want to go through that, okay? Second thing I like to do is if there's no opera here, I actually like to come on this couch. So the reason why I like being up here is not only for its great upholstery and, you know, amazing color, I like it because it gives me extra elevation on somebody going for the jump peak, which is very common, especially late into the round or middle into the round when they've blown through a lot of the utility. You have a guy coming across like this, and having that little bit of extra elevation can really help you seal the deal on a kill. Another thing you can do is maybe coming up over here. It's the same concept. I come up a little bit over the stairs, just right here, staying just in this little area, and I'm getting ready for him to jump back. Going for a palace peek onto jungle. You need your teammates going for middle control for this to really even be somewhat effective. What I mean by that is maybe having one of your teammates, if they understand how to throw a window smoke. The idea is you are forcing this opper out of window if you went to window, and you are pushing him into jungle. When that happens, you know, you're gonna run through and you're gonna run through palace. And personally, if you're going for this peak and you're going for that kill, I personally run all the way up and I just post right here. And you're waiting for this opper to come out and you're trying to snag him after the window smoke bloom. However, this is a pretty dangerous peak in the sense that there's a lot of variables that you have to understand when you go for this that you mentally need to be ready for. My route actually is very specific when I go for this. You want to not come here for the palace peak and then wait. You need to be aware of the fact that just like we may go for the palace peak, somebody on the other team may have aggressed into apartments and you need to be ready for it. If you had a good spawn and you're going into palace and you land, you will hear that in palace. That's a great sound cue to have. My path is I come here that way in case anybody's posted with the op, you know, I can come up and deal with them accordingly, and then I can post here. This is probably by far my favorite peak. It's also the one that you're most likely to die on. Imagine that. One-dimensional here. Basically, starting from this line and moving forward, if I am anywhere in this area, I will go for the A ramp peak if I can. I usually ask if one teammate has a flash. You know, we get rolling here, you just want to run all the way up A ramp, and then right here, this is typically when I call for the flash. So once I cross this point, I'm like flash, and what I do, the way I peek this, is I come all the way up here. The reason for that is, first off, if anybody's crossing, you have full body and you'll have full vision. Second reason, your teammate's flash will blind any opper that we were just discussing right here could possibly kill you, and he will be fully blind for just a free kill. So any opper just trying to come across like this and peek A ramp is now blind and dead. The things that you need to be concerned about with this peak, obviously there could be the Molotov, which we talked about, maybe the opper is going aggressive behind it, and the very obvious nade stack. The ways you get around that is the reason we go super aggressive past these when we come up is there's a very good chance that the nades will go past you just a little bit and they won't do as much damage, and you're still safe in terms of what you're peeking and who's blind, as long as you don't overcommit after getting naded. If they do Molotov it, that personally is when I would actually stay A ramp. So say I was going for a pick, they mullet A ramp. Okay, well, what I'll do is I'll back off immediately They don't know I was there, 100%. They just got flashed. And I will actually stay posted behind the Molotov. Just like we were throwing a Molotov to go aggressive A ramp, other teams will be doing the same, or just sometimes a rifle will be walking up right behind it and you can get a free kill and you can hold that map control for your team. Because if a guy gets into A ramp, he can get a lot of free information and you can punish that. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope to get better with it. You know, if you guys have any comments on what I can improve upon, or if you guys have any suggestions on some other content you guys would like to see, I personally would like to keep doing stuff like this. And if you guys enjoyed it as well, so just drop a like and let me know what map you guys want me to do next, and I'll see you guys next time.